Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the BA Sales Kennel Kelp Holistic Healing Hour. Welcome once again. Actually, at time of taping is February the 4th. Obviously, you folks are going to be hearing this after that. So just to let everybody know, it is at taping February 4th. And we're almost there. So stay with us one more time. Tim was wonderful to introduce me to another platform that seems to be working out for the better. And today is going to solidify it. So I'm going to kind of let Tim segue right in, and we'll be asking some questions and so forth. We're just going to make sure that everything's a go, and it looks like it is. So, Tim, I'm going to let you take it away, and I will interject some questions when you get going. I just want to give one more positive check that we're seeing each other, and it looks like we're good. So thank you so much for being patient. Thank you so much for introducing me to what we're about to go for. And take it away, Tim, and we're going to nail this thing out of the park. Welcome back, Tim.
Bill, thank you for the invitation. Bill, I want to talk about Earth being a spiritual training school. And it states it in Genesis 6.4, I think it is, that the sons of gods came to Earth and they mated with the women of Earth. And in doing so, this is when Earth was established as a spiritual training school, because when they mated with the women, the offsprings had this genetic engineered DNA within them, plus the O positive blood came into the offsprings at that time too, which was the universal blood O positive. So that was way back then that Earth became a spiritual training school. And since then, any soul incarnating into this Earth spiritual training school gets this engineered genetic DNA within their physical body. Now, prior to coming to Earth, all souls would incarnate in the Milky Way galaxy. There's billions of stars, billions of solar systems, and the soul would transition from one solar system to another solar system to another solar system, because the solar system they would incarnate into would only have one of the characteristics of God. For example, when we're created in the image and likeness of God, and all of God's characteristics are in the soul. So when a soul would incarnate to one of these other solar systems, excuse me, let's say it's the Lion-Man solar system, the characteristics of that solar system would be courage. And so the soul would master their characteristics, and then at the time of death, the co-creator gods of that solar system would recommend where the soul would go next to the next solar system, where they would master another characteristics of God. So once they've done this through several thousands carnations, the soul could only go from one solar system to another solar system to another solar system. They could not go beyond the fifth dimension reality. So when the soul comes here and incarnates into the Earth spiritual training school, and they have the opportunity to discipline and master all their God characteristics. And in doing so, eventually the soul ascends beyond the fifth dimension reality. This is a spiritual training school. The soul comes here. And now, when they come here, their purpose in coming here is to serve God. That's their primary purpose. For their love of God, they want to serve God and be a perfect servant for God. And so that's the intention of the soul when they come here. Now, all souls on our earth are in this spiritual training school. They're not aware of it, though. All right? They do not realize what their purpose in life is. And when they're created in the image and likeness of God, these characteristics are in the raw forms, their emotions. And what happens is, when the soul comes here, they haven't learned to discipline and master their emotions, and the emotions dictate the actions of the soul. So in other words, if the soul is hungry, if these emotions get activated and they're hungry or thirsty, they'll do whatever the soul will do whatever it needs to do to satisfy the desire of the emotion. So whether it's sensual or sexual or physical or mental or emotional, when the soul initially comes here, he really doesn't care how he satisfies his emotions, because the initial stage is the ego stage of selfishness. So the soul will do whatever he has to do to satisfy his desires of the emotions. Now, he doesn't know it's his emotions. He thinks it's him. He doesn't realize that the emotions are controlling him. He just thinks it's, oh, I have this desire, not knowing that it's these raw emotions and they're like wild children within them and they want to be satisfied. So how the soul learns to discipline and master these emotions is based on the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is whatever you do to another will be done unto you. And so through the soul's life experiences, when he steals from one, then someone will steal from the soul. And so the soul eventually, what happens is through the law of cause and effect, whatever you do to another will be done unto you. Eventually the soul puts it together to say, oh, I steal, someone steals from me. When they steal from me, it's terrible. I don't like when someone's stealing from me. And then they learn, well, it's not nice to steal from someone else. So that's how the universal law of cause and effect conditions the soul to discipline their behaviors and these emotions until eventually they master them. And the pathway, they have to master them until the emotion becomes a God feeling in the brain. And there's a pathway that the emotion takes from the subconscious mind, which is in the solar plex area, and it has to go up the nerve center of the system to the brain, where it is disciplined into the God consciousness, and it no longer becomes a raw emotion. It becomes a feeling, a God feeling. Like anger becomes peace. Impatience becomes patience. And this is how the soul masters and disciplines these raw emotions. And so the purpose of this Earth Training School is for the souls to use their conscious mind, subconscious mind, master the raw emotions into God feelings. And when they do that, they ascend. Now, how do they ascend? Well, at the end of each carnation, when the soul incarnates into a life, they bring their light body with them. And whatever the soul experiences in a physical life, he's upgrading the quality of his light body. And so after a death, the light body goes on. The light body of the soul negotiates with the co-creator gods on earth here, and they select what his next incarnation is going to be. And when he incarnates, he takes everything that he accumulated from his prior incarnations that are in the light body now, and when he's born, it goes from the light body into the current physical body. And this is a reason why there are birth defects and afflictions in the body that happens to a person when they're born into this Earth Spiritual Training School. So now, let me leave it there and let me leave it for your questions if you have anything, Bill.
Okay. I think this might be a good time because obviously, and we hope we have a lot of new people coming in, but we obviously have some people that hopefully were with us last year when we started these, and I've run the replay of our original interview and a couple subsequent ones, and then our endeavors this year, where we've gotten some semblance of your multiple appearances. My point is on that, we've covered quite a bit of your material in those subjects. So I wanted to revisit, if you'd be so kind. I think it was the very last attempt, as a matter of fact. We talked about how important it is with the pH balance,
Right.
to go with the physical sustenance for the body as well as the mental and the meditation element. Could you maybe expand upon how important the balance of those two things are, the actual physical pH balance, and then how that coordinates and correlates with the meditation and so forth?
Well, yes, it's extreme for the health of the body. Now, this was documented back in 1934. There was some doctor, I forget his name, Bill, but he got a.
Me too, and I know him. I forget his name too, but I know him, and I'll find that out for it.
He got a Peace Prize. He won the World Peace Prize for the discovery that cancer lives in an acidic environment in the body, and your body has an alkaline to acidic ratio. I think it's like the acidic level has to be the alkaline level has to be like 7.4. And
correct.
If the alkalinity is low, then the acidity takes over into the blood. Now, if the body is acidic, then that's where diseases live. They can grow in an acidic environment. Bill, it's the same thing like a swimming pool. If you have a swimming pool and the water gets cloudy and dirty, what do? You put in pH up, which is an alkalinity-based chemical that raises the alkalinity in the pool, and it kills the bacteria. The same principle is in the body. If your acidic level is low, you raise it, and there's a mixture that it's the formula, very simple mixture. It's you take a lemon, squeeze half of it, and mix it with a teaspoon of baking soda and 10 ounces of water, and you drink it down, and that will raise the alkalinity immediately. It used to be when I was little, and if I would get a cold, the doctors would say, "Oh, it's got to run its cycle. It'll take 7 days." No, it doesn't.
Correct.
You raise your alkalinity. The first sign of not feeling well, you raise the alkalinity, and immediately it kills the whatever's trying to infect the body. There was last year, during the coronavirus, 2 years ago, I woke up one night, middle of the night. I had a fever. I felt nausea. I was sick to my stomach. I didn't feel well. And I woke my wife up, and she says, "Should we go to the hospital?" I says, "No, give me a glass of lemon and baking soda and water."
There you go.
I took that.
There you go.
5 minutes later, I was fine, back to sleep. It happens that fast. And
it's so true.
Doctors don't want you to know this, because if you heal yourself, there's no use for doctors, okay? You put them out of business. And maybe some doctors don't even know this, because it may not be taught. It may not be, and it may be taught. But besides balancing your alkalinity for the body, for the physical aspects of the body, you need to remove unhealthy fears and feelings of self and others, and you can remove them just as quickly as you can with the alkaline lemon mixture for your body. And maybe we can demonstrate that real quick, Bill, what that is.
Let's do that.
And
let's do that. I'm assuming you're going to go to the prayer, or am I ahead of the assumption?
No.
Okay, please do.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Please do.
And on the website, www.thepathtowoneness.com, it's there. And all the teachings on there are mostly free, but it's called the Prayer to Remove Emotional Parasites. And what you have is in your mind, you've got a conscious mind in your head and a subconscious mind in your solar plex area, which is your third chakra of your body. And this is where all your truths and fears and feelings are held, is in your solar plexus, which is connected to your light body. So if you have a fear, all you have to do is put your left hand above the navel and your right hand on your heart. Now, the conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time. So if you're afraid of, if you're watching a football game and then now you say, oh, I want to get rid of this fear, you've got to replace what you're watching on TV and bring that fear into your conscious mind. And then your conscious mind will go into your subconscious mind and pull that fear up to your consciousness. And once it's in your consciousness, you'll say this prayer. You'll say these words. This feeling is not mine. This feeling does not belong to me. I release this feeling in love now and forever. Amen. Immediately, that fear or unhealthy feeling is gone completely. I've done this to people all over the world, and after we do the prayer, it only takes like 15 seconds, I'll say, all right, now try and find that fear in your body. They can't find it. They can't find it. Now, we call it an emotional parasite prayer because your emotions and these fears, they're organic. They're organic beings. And what they do is they interfere with the thinking of the soul. So if I say, okay, Bill, I'm gonna show you how to remove your fear of heights. And with this, it's very simple. The organic fear of heights will interfere with your thinking and say, oh, I'm not, I don't go anyplace high. I don't need to remove that. Fears are good for you. The parasite will interfere with your thinking, interrupt it, and try to convince the soul not to remove this fear off their light body, because the parasite believes it will be the end of their existence. So, very simple prayer. It's like removing deleting a photo off your phone. It's that quick and easy. So, what else?
Well, that wouldn't be directly related to Lucifer, which I do want you to talk about, but kind of, sort of, without it being Lucifer, the parasite.
Right.
It kind of, sort of, it isn't Lucifer, everybody. I'm going to have Tim talk about Lucifer.
No, it's not Lucifer.
But if you think about temptation, parasites, if you will, my far reach, it's kind of like the Luciferian thing. But Tim, please tell us what really the Luciferian thing is.
Well, see, this is an earth training school, and Archangel Lucifer works for God, and Lucifer is in charge of this earth spiritual training school because his mission is to make sure that when the soul ascends to the next level of soul development, of spiritual development, he's free of all temptations, and he has disciplined his light body completely, where now he can ascend to the next level. So it's Lucifer's role to tempt each soul on what's weak in the soul, so the soul learns to overcome those temptations and weaknesses within him. Now, the word devil, all right, the word devil originated from going back to Adam and Eve, where Eve ate the apple and she got ill, and Eve was a deity, so it's the deity Eve getting ill. So the word devil comes out of that connotation of Eve, the deity Eve eating the apple, getting ill, devil. But no, Lucifer gets Archangel Lucifer. I mean, he'll grant you now. He will tempt you and say, if you sell your soul to me, I will give you fame, money, power, and so forth, just so that the soul will indulge and honor Lucifer. Now, I have a recording of the Catholic Church that goes back.
I'm sorry, I was just going to go to Catholicism because both of us have that background. Continue.
I have a recording of the current Pope at an Easter Mass a couple of years ago. It's in Latin, but it's translated where they honored the god Lucifer, and they believe Jesus is the son of Lucifer. All right? So that's how they justify doing the pedophiling and any wrongdoings. Not all the priests now are indulging in these teachings. At the higher level, they are, because I've known a lot of priests, and when I was little, I was raised Catholic, and I served as an altar boy, and I knew a lot of priests that were genuinely very, very religious, and then other priests that were
we're not.
Yeah, I lost a lot of respect for them for the way they handled their personal life and treated other people. Yeah. So
likewise, real quickly, Tim and I exchanged that in the green room before. We both came up Catholic, and we kind of have the disappointment element. And again, don't broad base a brush with all priests, to be fair, but we don't want to get personified on that. But there is a gray area of discussion there. Fair enough, Tim?
Yeah, fair enough.
So continue.
Well, let's see. Well, what I created, I channeled a lot of teachings from the Golden Ones, and they're on the website, on the YouTube. And when I started to distribute them, putting them out on social media, I'm getting a lot of flack from social media, stopping me from posting my teachings and so forth. So we started a membership program on the website, and we have, I think there was over maybe 200 videos, and we created about 150 MP3s, and we put them on the website at a cost of $3 for the MP3. But if you join the membership program, which is $99 a month, you get free access to all the MP3s. But in addition to that, we're putting up a teaching twice a month on the full moon and the new moon. And the teachings are sequential from the time the soul was created in the image and likeness of God, going through their different incarnations in other solar systems, coming to Earth, the responsibility of this Earth Spiritual Training School, what's expected of the soul, what the soul has to do, what's the conscious mind, what's the subconscious mind, what's the universal mind, what's the universal law of cause and effect, how does that work? The stages of soul development, there's 3 stages of soul development. So we're systematically going through the teachings, starting at number 1, and I don't know how far it's going to go, but eventually my teachers, the Golden Ones, wants this to be a documented record of their teachings. Now, their teachings were on the planet, as we discussed, well over 10,000 years ago, when Earth was a 5th dimension reality. And they taught in the island of Lemura. And then as our solar system moves through the Milky Way galaxy, it goes through different dimensions. And at the time, 10,000 years ago, we were in the 5th dimension reality, where women were in charge of the planet. Now, women were in charge of the planet because the women are connected to the heart of God, and they would govern out of their feelings for the love of their people, to nurture them, to make sure that their well-being is taken care of, and so forth. But then when Earth plunged from a fifth dimension into a third dimension reality, as our solar system traveled through the Milky Way galaxy, it was too dense for the golden ones to stay on Earth. So they had to leave the Earth until Earth returned to the fifth dimension reality, which was 22 December 2012. But their teachings were lost because their teachings were on the island of Lemuria. So now the golden ones are back on the planet. They are the co-creator gods, administrators of this Earth spiritual school, approved by the Galactic Council, and all souls coming to Earth have to be approved by the Galactic Council. So the golden ones want their teachings to be on the planet now for the welfare, to uplift the consciousness and spirit of the souls here, to give them the understanding of their purpose here and their oneness with creation. So that's what we're doing. We're in the process now of documenting the process and their teachings, and we're putting it on the website in a systematic order, and that will be free in the memberships, along with downloading all the MP3s. And we're putting the teachings in a video and an MP3, so whoever joins can listen to these teachings over and over and over again until the golden ones brainwash them into knowing that who they are. We're all created in the image and likeness of God. So what does that mean if you're created in the image and likeness of God? That kind of means like you're a God. You're a God. You're a God. I mean, if I have a child, it's got all my characteristics in it. So the same thing with us. There's no such thing as sin. We don't commit a sin when we come here. The only time we commit a sin, we have free will. We have free will, so the soul can do whatever he wants to do to learn wisdom. And that's the purpose here, is we're here to learn wisdom. So we need to try this out to see, am I comfortable with this? No, I'm not. Okay, I won't do that anymore. Does this feel good? Yeah, that feels good. Let me investigate this even more. So in our life experiences, where we do trial and error to determine what's good for us and what's not good for us, that's not sin. We're not creating karma here. We create karma when we abuse any member of God's kingdom, any member of the man kingdom, the animal kingdom, the mammal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the insect kingdom, the vegetation kingdom. Anytime we abuse any one of those one of God's kingdoms, that's when we cause karma. And the law of cause and effect will create a life experience where we learn to discipline our behavior not to do that. Gods don't do that. So let's see. So there's many things. There's many free teachings on the website for the soul. The Ascension Master Program. We talk about how you can discipline your thinking. It's a 28-day program. It's free, and you can download the information, and you basically do an exercise daily, simple exercise to train yourself to pay attention to your thoughts. Many other free. Most of the teachings and videos on the website are free. It's in the Oneness store is where it will cost you a slight fee, but we're encouraging memberships because we want people to join, to share the teachings with their loved ones and their families and so forth, to get the word out of who you are and what your purpose in life is.
Hey, Tim, can I create a visual for our listeners for a second that, first of all, if you look at the $99.95 price and just think, and not to minimize anything, understand what I'm saying, please. If you look at just the wealth of information at the MP3s times 150 of them at the normal $3, that's a $450 built-in value right there for the $99.95. And one other thing, Tim, refresh all of us, and especially me, when you were in your YouTube thing that you're phasing out, were you up to like number 81? I know you were in the 80s, and shame on me on the number of the studies that you've been doing. Didn't you get up into the 80s on YouTube?
I got up, I did it. Bill, 80,
I think you did.
80 was my recent one. I was up on my previous one. I was up to 112, and then I started.
Okay, did they give you a little bit of this on the other ones?
Well, what happened is in my earlier days, I would just put the words up, and you had to go in and read it. And then my webmaster says, people want to know who you are. So he wanted me to record. So I started recording, and I didn't edit my recordings. And then after about 100 recordings, I went back and listened to my recordings, and they were terrible, Bill. I had a lot of ums and ims and in there. And
in self-defense, when we're not, and this isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. When you're not like a professional broadcaster, let alone a podcaster, and all kudos, everything's fair and balanced. It's natural to have a lot of ums and oohs and ahs. It's a process to get your comfort zone. It is. It's a natural progression. I've never seen anybody come right in behind the mic and just be whoever you want to compare it to.
Let me just.
And they had a beginning and starting area too. And believe me, they experienced the same thing. Continue, Tim.
Well, let me just say, in those days, those terrible recordings, they were still better than Joe Biden.
No argument here. No argument here.
So I started listening to them, and I says, "Oh, these are terrible." So I started redoing them with updated information, and then I would go in and I'm editing them now, so it sounds better. Right. But I was telling my wife earlier, I would just like to be like we're doing right now, just have a conversation out there, because I'm kind of stiff when I do these videos, but the information's good. The information's good.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I do these shows, Tim. And I'm not the messenger. You are, and my guests are. And I'm not a podcaster. What I will take credit for, I call myself the porcelain junction box, because I am on the neural fiber highway. That's my forte or whatever. I'm real comfortable in that. We're stepping outside of our comfort zone, kind of, sort of, which is a good thing, I think. I think it's great to take on challenges, and you learn along the way. You already know. I could tell you stories, talk about editing room that had never even made the camera. That's how bad they were.
Yeah.
And it's just a progression. I've been behind the mic. Everybody listen to what I'm saying. They didn't necessarily always make the airwaves, trust me. I've been behind the mic in a podcast and easily 4,000 times. Now stay with me. There's so many, but there's so many of them. Like, I can't put that on there. And I said 27 ums and ahs. You learn along the way, and you know what? I still do ums. I still do ums and ahs. I am trying to be more vigilant in going back and editing those out. We'll all get there. Our message is at its core, and we're of a certain ilk on the chronology age. I think that's how we operate at a certain age. We're used to
Right.
The old way of just, hey, how you doing? Let's talk.
Well,
And there's no aspersions on the wonderful technology, and here's where we are. We learn along the way.
yeah. There's so
You and I just learned something from Friday, mostly me, when we started to do this. We learn along the way. So continue, Tim. I kind of broke your train of thought.
Bill, that's good, because what happens is I've had so many experiences, and when you ask me, I mean, Bill, I think I have been almost completely trained on everything in the spiritual training school, from the conscious mind, subconscious mind, universal mind, laws of cause and effect.
I'd agree that you've been there, done that. In my humble opinion, you've certainly been there, done that.
And when you ask a question, it's like I have to go into my memory and pull up, like which event am I?
A massive amount of files that you
right. And what experience am I going to? Where would I start with our experience? And I'm going. Let me see. Yada. So.
Understood.
Yeah. So it's easier for me to get my thoughts together on paper and read it. For the purpose is to get the message to the people and the teaching to our brothers and sisters. That is,
I agree.
That's the purpose. That's the purpose.
You and I, and again, no aspersions on anybody. You and I aren't looking for Podcaster of the Year award or whatever. And those are all great things. Understand what I'm saying? We're looking to get our message out the best way that we can. And I think we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we all learn off of each other. And to coin the old phrase that someone used a few years ago, she wasn't the author of it, but in this case, it does take a village. It takes a very big village. It takes all of us, because we all have strengths, expertise, something to bring to the table. And the more and more that we interlope and network in, we're all experiencing our strengths and foibles and so forth by being human beings. So I think it's great.
That is good. It is good, Bill. Now I like this format.
So
I like this.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I like this format, Bill. I like this. I like this opportunity to speak from the mind and the heart, rather than writing something down and presenting it.
To me, that's more genuine. It's more real, and hopefully, that's perceived as a higher. If you're talking about lug nuts, whatever. If you're feeling it, you're showing it, you're passionate about it, I think that's more reciprocal to an audience without sometimes all of us seeming robotized. I was on the street at 5:00 yesterday afternoon. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. I just go with the premise, what you see is what you get, and hopefully everybody can get by whatever, and hopefully there's a message there. There most certainly is a message with yourself. You do a great job, Tim. You do a great job.
Thank you. I think that when we speak like this, who's ever listening can see the authenticity in what we say and what we feel. Agreed. And they know it's coming from our heart, and it's not programmed or anything like that.
A little bit of humor, just with our patience and fortitude over the last since it's become the New Year's. Obviously, we're getting to the end result. Equate it to anything. When you first learned how to ride a bicycle, you have to fall off and bang your knee. It's a crazy analogy and all of that, but so true. There's a beginning to everything. In your case, your beginning was a really long time ago. You have such an extensive, like you said, you have so many scenarios. I could do 5 examples right now, and with you being able to afford assimilating your files, you could find an answer for me. That's how much wealth you have up there. No, seriously.
No, it is.
That's what experience and tenure gives.
Well, see, my teachers.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
to be a student of the Golden Ones, they had to give me many life experiences so I could
And they did.
comprehend what was happening and how it relates to the soul's growth and development. And not only that, but a solution to what's happening to them to make their path easier, like removing fears from them, from their light body, and keeping the body alkaline, and to protect yourself from negative energies with the prayer protections. And what we didn't talk about, and we can talk about another time, Bill, is forgiveness.
Let's do that one the next time
Yeah.
around, Tim. I'll make a mental note. Let's definitely do that
Yeah.
one the next time. So I'm certainly not hurrying you. What else do you think we should cover today to cut it off? Because there is so much wealth of knowledge. We teased a little bit. There's so much fodder for you and I, and it's not necessarily fodder for you and I to talk about. There's so many subjects. We could do 150 more shows, you and I, moving out.
You know,
there's that much to talk about, really.
The thing is
so that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
I
think, Bill, I think if I started another subject, it just doesn't go to one subject. There's like, it goes down a path and there's roads. So this is a good place to, I think, maybe to end this.
I agree. And folks, please, lots of you, and that's where my interchange voicemail message board, and a lot of you are starting to interact. Let us know. You may be virtuosos. You might be doing Tim's lesson. Wherever you fall, let us know. And nobody's intimidated here, but don't be intimidated. This is a good place. This is a welcome place. This is your safe. It's a crazy world out there right now, and sometimes it's understandable how, when you're not familiar with a subject, that you can categorize them into all the good, the bad, and the ugly that's going out there now. And Tim and I have talked about this a lot. We're definitely at a different precipice at time in this planet. I still fervently believe when we get on the backside of it, and I think it's going to take a couple of ripples in the water and the theater. I think this is a great time in the rejuvenation of this planet, the inhabitants of, and our legacy, because I think Tim agrees, COVID and whatever, more so the isolationist part of it, in my humble opinion, I think brought us home on a lot of reflectory things like, what's up? What's up? Where have we been? What's up? I think it was kind of a very tenuous or whatever. I think we came out of it with some good lessons, and I hope that we did. I'm kind of that ilk that we're becoming more and more enlightened, and we're going to come out. And I think Tim and I talked about this, and Tim's going to help me with it. I keep seeing 2050, Tim and I talked about this, in 2030, numerology, and Tim sent me some. I'm equating that, until I hear better, as in the years 2025 and 2030. And I'm trying to channel into that. I'm interpreting it of my own way of interpreting it to this point, that somebody is trying to tell me that those are years, as in next year, in my interpretation, as 2025 becomes. I think that's the turn for the better, and I think that's what I'm trying to be told. I'm still battling with that a little bit, but those numbers, and Tim and I have talked about that, in 2030, I'm going with the years. I still don't have any idea if they're telling me, hey, bet the lottery today. I'm kidding a little bit, and bet those numbers. Tim, any closing thoughts on that numerology? And we did talk about it before, and that might be a subject for another time. And I'll let you close out for today.
Yeah, Bill. What comes to mind is Nibiru.
Okay.
Do you know about Nibiru?
Tell the folks what Nibiru is. Tell the folks what Nibiru is. That may not.
Well, know. Nibiru is a all the solar systems. Each star in the Bill, we better say. I'll just briefly. Let me just say it. that all the stars in the in the Milky Way galaxy are bi stars, meaning they have a sister star. And our sun has a sister star that comes back every 3,600 years. And when she comes back, they call it the ninth planet, but it's not a planet. There's planets associated with this Nibiru. And when it comes back, it creates catastrophes on the planet depending on what path it takes when it comes around the sun. But we can talk about that another day. And when you say 2030, you said something like 2050 too. You meant 2025.
I meant 2025. My bad. You know how I do that.
No, that's okay, because it could be by 2050 is when Nibiru comes back. That's what came a little bit thought, but we can talk about that at another time. That's a good subject to keep people.
Maybe that's a great way. So Tim's going to help us out today. We're on Tim's chat room. Long story short, I've done prelude shows about this soon. You'll be seeing all my endeavors on my chat room. So I'm going to let Tim hit the magic switch in a second to sign us off, because he's at the control board, if you will, this time around. So everybody, I'll see you again tomorrow, each and every day. Tim's definitely going to be with us, as I've preluded out. He's going to be here, and he's always readily available. Suffice it to say, he'll be here at least one time each subsequent month. We're obviously in February now, and it's all embraced around the membership program. I'm a member. I'm going to be on board 10 days or so, just settling into all these other things we got going on. So I'll see you all tomorrow, and carry the faith. We'll see you all, and hold on, join us, and Tim will be back at the next time around. So I'm going to let Tim sign us off, and then I'll talk to Tim off camera in just a moment. So I'll see you all tomorrow, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, Tim.
Visit us at www.thepathtooneness.com. Join the membership program for all the latest teachings from the Golden Ones. Visit us on Facebook and LinkedIn at thepathtooneness.com.